This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Friday, June 28th of 2024. We're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I have a conversation with Ryan Grant of Landus. Coming up in August, we'll have the Farm Progress Show already, and the folks at Landus are very excited for what they will be bringing to the show. Lots of great conversation there on some really cool things that they will have for everyone to see. Before we get into that conversation, though, we'll take a look at the closing markets on a day that included the quarterly grain stocks and the planted acres report.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, we're here with Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, of course, the quarterly grain stocks and the planted acreage reports coming out today. First off, tell us how those reports looked and how the grain markets reacted.
Yeah, well, grain markets reacted negatively to corn and wheat, and a little more supportive to soybeans. And, you know, the quarterly stocks really didn't seem to be that much out of line. Corn, they looked at a 4.993 billion bushels. Average estimate was 4.873. So that's not really that much. It's quite a bit higher than last year, but we had anticipated that. Soybeans were 970 million bushels relative to 962. That wasn't that much. And I have to make a correction. I said 4.993 million for corn. It was actually supposed to be billion. Apologize for that. And wheat at 702 million bushels versus 684 for the average trade estimate. Yeah, a little bit negative, but not really that much. But the bigger issue was the acreage report. USDA estimates corn acres at 91.475 million. And that was quite a bit. That was like 1.4 million higher than the average trade estimate. And that was totally surprising to the trade. And then they decreased acres for soybeans. The current estimate is 86.1 million acres. The average trade estimate was 86.753. And that combination really caught everybody by surprise, because there was some anticipation that with the wetness in some areas that it was maybe switched a little more towards soybeans. And that wasn't the case. So, of course, we had the violent reaction off of corn being down close to the close, around 15 cents. So it had been down quite a bit more shortly after the numbers were released. And then that report was a little delayed because of some technical issues or whatever. But that heightened some of the market movement when they finally got the numbers out. We ended up with soybeans a little bit higher, corn down significantly. The wheat was actually under pressure as well. And that acreage number came in a little bit less, about 250,000 acres less than USDA, or I shouldn't say USDA, the average trade estimate. It came in at 47.240 million acres. So the corn and the wheat were down, and wheat, even though it had lower acreage than the estimates, still was under pressure because of the rise in the quarterly stocks in wheat. So, it was one of those reports again. We normally have a lot of huge movements off of this report, and we certainly saw one again this time around. We may not agree with those numbers, but that's what we have to deal with at this point in time. So that's behind us now. The reaction was today. Traders will have the weekend to digest it, and we'll just have to go from there. Now, that was the big mover. We did see a flash sale of soybeans reported today of 120,000 metric tons for next year's crop. The anticipation was it was China, and if so, that was China's first buy for next year. And then the other thing that's positive to the grain movement is the Panama Canal Authority is increasing bookings to 35 vessels, which is back to normal, basically. So after the dryness and the real curtailing of movement through the Panama Canal, that's getting back to normal at this point in time. So those are positive things, but those weren't really an issue once that report came out. So not a good situation for our corn profitability. Little better on soybeans, but again, not moving it very much higher. So we're really seeing some pressure, that came in under this market today.
And of course, the focus being on the grains today. On the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex, what do we see those numbers doing at the end of today?
Well, we were down on cattle, and part of that is we saw in the South just some light trade taking place at about steady with last week, and at $190. Now, if cash traded steady to even lower, we were probably going to see pressure on that market. That's what it looks like happened now. Now, there was a few live cattle traded in Nebraska, $1 higher at 198. But there's been such light trade so far to this point. We're probably going to see a flood of sales take place the rest of today, but we don't have access to that information right now. Now, June contract went off the board today. So August took over as front month as of noon. And there's a discount in the August to where the June went off the board of $8. So either we're going to see some retracing and some lower prices coming in, or we're going to have to narrow that gap or close that gap. So the next couple of weeks will be critical as far as cash trading is concerned. Now we have until the end of August, but I think next couple of weeks will set the direction. Our feedlot's going to be able to hold out for that higher cash. Is demand on the underneath going to be able to support that? We haven't really seen a pullback in beef demand because of generally the dog days of summer. That hasn't happened yet at this point in time. And we did see box beef price strong at the midday report today. Choice was up $2.40, select up $2.11. So that continues to show some strong demand. So packers may have to step up in order to purchase cattle to finish out this week. And then next week, there'll obviously be a disruption with July 4th in between there. So maybe they're not going to buy quite as much because they had forward bought some last week because of the holiday. But I tend to think that they're going to want to pick up what they need. And that's going to have them step up to the plate. Now, hogs were higher. They had the hog and pig report out yesterday. I termed that report as neutral. There was some indicating neutral to slightly bearish. But when we looked at all hogs and pigs on June 1st at 101%, the trade was looking at 101.3 as an average. Kept for breeding at 97%. Trade was looking at 97.8, and kept for marketing at 102, with a trade looking at 101.6. You take those numbers all together, and it looks like it was a neutral report. And then we have some different variations. Weren't too far off on the pig crop, the farrowings. So the market reflected that today. We had the market or traders basically looking past that, and we saw strength. We saw strength in the hog contracts pretty much across the board until very late or next year's trade. We were, I think, mixed at the close. So they're looking past that at this point in time. Those numbers are digested right now and factored in. Now they're going to be looking at again, back to demand, back to cash prices, and National Daily Direct report today was not good for cash hogs. We were down $2.13. However, the positive thing at the midday, now we don't know what the close will be, but at the midday, we saw a jump of cutouts of $4.93. So that was a positive thing, probably driven by bellies again. Bellies have been very volatile over the last couple of weeks, which really makes a swing in the cutout values. But at the noon and at the midday, we looked fairly good for that. We might be seeing a little bit increase in demand, but the volatility and back and forth on that market is going to probably keep traders cautious, and maybe futures trade sideways for a bit.
All right, Robin, lots of great information today for those of our listeners who would like to get in touch to learn more from the folks at agmarket.net. How can they do that?
Well, you can call me directly if they would like at 877-256-3253, or go to our website, agmarket.net. There's an 844 number there. Anybody be glad to answer your questions, whatever you have, or if you would like to look at doing some business.
Great talking with you as always, Robin, and we'll visit with you again next week.
All right. Thank you, and take care.
That again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. We'll take a look at how the numbers closed through the market window at iowaagnet.com. At the close, July corn down 16.5 at $3.97 1/4. July soybeans down 1 3/4 at $11.50 1/2. July soybean meal down 60 cents at $3.60.50. Soybean oil up 28 cents at $43.77. Chicago wheat down 6 1/4 at $5.53 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 4 1/2 at $5.87 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat up 2 1/4 at $6.13 even. July oats up 5 3/4 at $3.09 3/4. On the Merc, August live cattle down 102 at $185.42. August feeders down 135 at $259.30. July lean hogs up 12 cents at $89.57. July pork cutout up $1.32 at $100.70. And July Class 3 milk down a dime at $19.46. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association, and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Ryan Grant of Landus about what they're excited for at the Farm Progress Show this year. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, like I said earlier, I had the chance to visit with Ryan Grant. He's the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Landus. We talked about some of the things that they are bringing to the Farm Progress Show this year. Of course, that new facility out in Boone, very close to the Farm Progress Show grounds. So they have a really kind of unprecedented opportunity to get people out to that and have them check it out. And by the way, this conversation on Landus at the Farm Progress Show, our Farm Progress Show coverage, brought to you by ADM Regenerations, rewarding farmers for conservation. Let's have a listen in to the conversation we were able to have the other day. Well, we are here with Ryan Grant. He's the Senior Vice President of Marketing at Landus. And of course, Ryan, coming up here very soon already is the Farm Progress Show. This year going to be in Boone. Obviously, having that in Iowa is great for us Iowa companies and having that close proximity. So first off, Ryan, just tell us a little bit about what Landus has in store for this year's Farm Progress Show.
Sure. So on the Farm Progress grounds, we're going to be hosting a VIP hospitality area for our Landus customers in conjunction with the Farm Progress Show and their preferred guests. So this area will be an air-conditioned tent. It'll be programmed with a podcast or two, a potential radio show, and we'll be headlined by Matt Karstens, our president and CEO here at Landus. There'll be a lot of information on what's happening at Landus, as well as our new company that we just launched a couple months ago called Conduit. And then we'll have plenty of food and beverages available for people. But as you know, the Farm Progress Show is just steps away from our Boone facility. So we'll be running some tours of our Boone location, showcasing our new chemical production facility, home of our Acre Edge performance portfolio, Talus, which is the first green ammonia production site in the United States, our updated grain handling facility there, as well as tours of our Acre Edge test plots. And as you can see, I'm in our innovation connector in Des Moines. Well, we're moving it to Boone so that we're able to talk to people about synthesis, our solution for democratization of data, Frenzy, and Sky Scout.
And Ryan, when you head out to that area of Boone in particular, it seems kind of unassuming at first, the Farm Progress Show grounds, and then even the Landus facility is a large building, but it's just kind of a large shed out there. But once you get inside and you see all the innovation, it really truly is a hub for that ag innovation right here in central Iowa, right?
It is. The big thing about the Boone facility, as I talked about with Talus, the first green ammonia site, the production facility, which is just unbelievable for producing our Acre Edge performance portfolio. There's a lot to see at that facility right now.
And then speaking again on kind of the farm progress side of things, like you mentioned, plenty of food and beverage, which is something that farmers will really enjoy to have there, especially it could be another hot event this year. But having the Farm Progress Show here in Boone and just so close by to be able to bring that innovation to the farmers is really a great thing, because like you mentioned, you guys have really the luxury of being able to take that innovation connector and move it out there and bring it to the farmers.
Yeah, it's really nice for us to be able to showcase that Boone facility and it being so close to the Farm Progress Show. What's nice about what's going to happen on the grounds there is, yes, we are going to have an air-conditioned tent. There will be plenty of food and beverage, and then opportunities to meet and talk about Landus and Conduit with our senior leadership. So we're looking forward to it. It's a great way for us to connect with people and connect with farmers. Here at Landus, everything that we do is focused on the farmer. We keep them at the center of everything. So it's great to be able to talk with them and find out what their issues are, what they're concerned about, and try to find some simple solutions for them.
And then Ryan, one last thing before we get ready to wrap up here. Is there anything else that our farmer listeners and our viewers should know about when it comes to Farm Progress Show or anything else that's coming out from Landus here soon?
I think we covered a lot of it, but I'm just really excited to be out there and getting forward, having the opportunity to talk with everyone and meeting everyone there.
All right, Ryan. And of course, for anyone who wants to get in touch and learn more from Landus, how can they do that?
Well, they can certainly go to our website, landus.ag, and get all the information there. If you have any questions, you can always call our Grow Solutions Center, which is 515-800-GROW.
Ryan, thanks so much again for the time today, and good luck as you guys continue to prepare for the Farm Progress Show this year.
Yeah, thank you so much, Riley. Great to be here.
That again was Ryan Grant of Landus. And that's all we have for today's episode of Ag Matters PM. Thanks again for tuning in. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. Also follow us on social media at Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok, and find our video content as well as previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcasts, as well as Pods of Potential and the Iowa Ag Matters podcast. You can find those on your favorite podcasting service at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Quentin Slater, Mark Magnuson, Andy Peterson, and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.